Hello, you're about to listen to excerpts from a conversation between Dr. Olasimbo Davidson and myself, Kumbia Shinoiki. I run Kumbi's Music Company, a hybrid music school in Lagos, Nigeria, teaching clients within Nigeria and across the globe. Dr. Davidson has a degree in medicine from the College of Medicine, Ibadan, and holds a Masters of Public Health degree from the University of Lagos College of Medicine. She also holds a doctorate in health administration from the Atlantic International University, Miami, and is a seasoned healthcare administrator and chartered quality professional. But to you and I, and for the basis of this conversation, she is Mama Tems, mother of the multi award winning singer, songwriter, producer, and global sensation, Temilade Openiyi, otherwise known as Tems. We will delve into Dr. Davidson's own musical upbringing and how this has influenced her musical parenting style. The full 90-minute recording, which includes Q&A from a live audience, is available within our Music Moms and Dads community. More information on how to access the community will be provided at the end of the excerpt. I must apologize for the quality of the video, but this in no way impedes on the quality of the conversation. I hope you find the conversation as illuminating and thought provoking as I did. Enjoy. What was your background? Did you have, any involvement in music yourself? And what did your kind of, your childhood look like?
Yes, good question. I did have a music background because from the age of about 6 or 7, my father believed that we had to learn to play the piano. And we were sort of like on this nomadic trip around the world. he got into the foreign service and we started having lessons abroad when we were moving from one country to the other. So I remember vividly it was in Cairo because that was the first place my father was posted to. It was in Cairo, and I started learning the piano. And it's all of us. We have 4 girls and a boy, and that boy is my twin. But I think when we're in Cairo, the last one wasn't even born yet. So we just had 4 of us. And so he got all of us, my twin brother, my older sister, my younger sister. Everyone must learn this piano. And we thought, well, yeah, nice idea, but can we just learn it at our own pace? And he said, no. So it's by force. You have to, and I'm going to spank anybody who doesn't practice, who doesn't know their notes. So that's Seriously? What I remember. Yeah.
Wow. How old were you when you started?
I think I'd say about 6 or 7. Yes, because he felt the earlier the better, so they can get used to it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so were you being taught by somebody local to Cairo, an Egyptian, or was it no? Okay.
No, we didn't even have any lesson teachers then. He thought it was a bit too early to get lesson teachers. Okay. So he was a teacher. He was a very strict teacher. So he just, because he could play the piano, could play the organ, and he was into classical music big time. So he bought all the music books with the notes. And he first of all took a very long time, maybe a couple of months, to teach us the notes. And he said, go and write me B, A, C, D minor, so we'd be there chewing the pencil, A major. Ooh, how to write that? B, where do you put B? C, so we had to learn the notes first. And he was really particular about that because he said you won't be able to read the music if you don't know what these notes are. Then he will show you allegro, all those vocabulary that we all had to learn, when you see so we can read the music, when to slow down, when to, so that's basically what he did. He was actually a good teacher, but he wasn't very patient. That was the problem. So he felt it was something that he had to.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, he had to do it in a very strict way, which I didn't like. Most of us did not like it.
So did he teach all 5 of you at the same time, or were you having one after the other?
Yeah, it was 4 of us. We used to have our own slots. So it would be like, okay, go first, and then I'm next, because my older sister will go first, I'm next. he gave us like 30-minute slots. That's how committed he was to it. Yes, you know. So we all knew which pieces were the exam pieces. She'll tell us, you're going to play 2 pieces, and you're going to do, a test, so that when the examiner says, play B or play C or play D major, you've got to get it right. You've got to know your notes, and you have to be able to compose a little piece of music. So that's how we started the exams. I thought it was very nerve-wracking, really, because those exams where you get to the place, you see so many children, you wonder, wow, how am I going to fail? And everyone looks so stern. The examiners were not friendly like the teacher, and if you hear anyone making a mistake, you feel so sorry for that person, because it means they probably will fail, or they'll be told, sorry, you can't go forward. You have to come back. You've missed too many notes, and sorry, we have to end this exam now. It was that strict. So I thought it was a little bit too tedious for someone who, wasn't really sure that was what I wanted to do. I liked composing the music. I liked reading the notes. I love the classical music, but I didn't like the schedules. I didn't like this. You've got to go for the piano lessons. You've got to go for the exams. You've got to get a particular grade. You can't get, like a pass. My dad wanted a merit or a distinction. It really was. It doesn't have to be lessons, must do this, schedules, extracurricular activities. You don't actually have to go that way. But once the child shows interest, that's when I say, yes, let's now push a bit. Do you like to do this? You really do? Right. You need to have a little bit of discipline to learn it properly. You can't just be so casual. But even then, I didn't put anyone over the edge. I didn't impose any exams on them. And I think that was my style.
Did you get them teachers at any point?
Yes, I didn't get them any teachers. That was a funny thing. It was more or less like a peer thing. They had friends who could, influence them too. And they had, relatives who could say, you come, I'm going to teach you. Just come. And some of my relatives, like my sister, had a piano too. So anytime they're going to my sister's house, they'll just sit down there and play randomly. And they watch the teachers, who were actually taking my nephews. So I think it was more like an observation. Let me see whether I can learn something from watching somebody else. I did not believe in lesson teachers, because I just thought, I've been through this. This is not what I think it works.
So you went completely the opposite way.
Completely opposite. That does not mean that you don't have to have lesson teachers. I think it was because I was still trying to see whether they had the interest. If a child shows interest, yes, that's when you can get teachers. And let it be something that's, easy going. Not, I don't care if you're tired, you're going to have to practice now. And teacher has to come every day. So that is, I think I would add. Nothing against teachers. You need lesson teachers, but not when the child is not interested at all.
So going back, just thinking back to your father, what was his goal and how did it differ from yours?
Yeah, I think my dad's goal was he wanted us to be like professional musicians, people that will be asked to come to an event and play, or join an orchestra. That's what I thought he really wanted, because when I looked at it, it just seemed completely different from, I just thought it was a hobby. I thought, oh yeah, so you learn it up to a point, and then you continue playing, at random events like competitions, if you like, and if you don't like, you stop. But not for him. To him, it was something really serious, completely different.
Do you still play?
I don't play. I don't play, but I can try and compose some music, because I still sort of like, I'm the kind of person I don't forget anything. I can get all the notes together and start thinking, how can I get a very nice piece of music out of this? So, but then, to me, it was a bit more of, is this a career path? Can we be serious about this, really? I mean, Dad, is this a career path? And when I got into medicine, it was almost like, I don't have time for this. No, I can't do medicine and be doing this. And in a way, I regretted it in a way, because I thought maybe I should have continued mean, it's just a skill that would be nice to have. If you have a church service and someone says, we need someone to play the piano today or whatever, I'll just come out and say, yeah, I can play. I can play the hymns. And there, I lost that opportunity.
Well, it's never too late, like we say.
Exactly. In Europe, there's a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of opportunities for children who are musically inclined. They can become professionals. They can become people who actually compose songs for artists. And that itself is also a very good income stream. They can decide to be, people who are teachers, very high level teachers at universities. So they could actually pursue an academic career as well. That means I'm going ahead, I'm going to do a doctorate in music, I'm going to go to a music school, So I see a lot of opportunities. My daughter, I know that if she does, get to the point where she decides, I don't want to sing anymore, which obviously is still a long way off because she's still young. And there are lots of things she can also do. So many things. Even people who sing, they eventually end up running academic schools for music and, teaching voice, teaching music. And some people just branch into other areas of life, like fashion, because she can do so many things. So I don't have any worries about her future. There's so many things she can do. And I think any musical child has a lot of opportunities, to be honest.
Okay, so we leave the conversation at that point. And I just wanted to spend a few moments just talking about my takeaways from what we discussed. I think the first thing that strikes me is the contrast, the very marked contrast between the oppressive musical parenting that she experienced as a child and the very light touch music parenting that she gave her children as an adult. And she was very clear that she did not impose lessons on Tems or her brother. They had no formal music exams. She, however, did provide a relaxed but supportive environment, bought them musical instruments, encouraged them to experiment, and encouraged plenty of peer-to-peer learning. And this seemed to serve them well, as both children, years later, are still actively involved in making music, one of them to international acclaim. She also very clearly regretted not continuing with her own musical education now that she's an adult, and wishes she had the skill readily available so she could substitute, act as a substitute musician in church, for example. I actually find it rather ironic that what her father desired, which was that they would make a career out of music, was not achieved in her generation. But it did come true in her children, but not the way her father envisaged. And I think that's very much down to the way he went about their music education. The fact that it was quite regimented. It was it didn't take any cognizance of what they wanted to do, and it just didn't seem to connect with her or her siblings. And I think as parents seeking to raise musical children, I think it's important that we bear in mind that this is a long game, and we need to be sure that we're playing the long game. And if you're playing the long game, you cannot have arbitrary deadlines about when a certain exam or a certain certification needs to happen. Because having unrealistic expectations could completely put your children off taking their skills further. And it's very clear that Mrs. Davidson wishes she did continue. She says she talks about loving and enjoying composition. She says she's sure she could put a song together if she dusted down her music knowledge. And I think that's a real shame that she didn't feel supported in her passion, to explore her passion in the way that she wanted to, and that because of the my way or the highway approach that her father took, it meant that her own musical, sort of prowess was stilted. Her own musical development was stunted. So please, parents, do think about the long game. Yes, Johnny next door is, getting all the awards and all the exams and, flying, past your children. But Johnny may well burn out. And if your children take it slow and steady, take time to develop their roots and learn lots of different styles of music, then I think they have more of a chance of sticking with music long term and enjoying the benefits right into old age. And I think that is what we all want. We don't want to hothouse the children and then find a situation where they no longer carry on. Okay, so yeah, play the long game. I think that's important to bear in mind. I absolutely love this quote of that Dr. Davidson gave us. She said, "Any musical child has lots of opportunities." And while she meant that, kind of within the context of the music industry, I would say it's way beyond that. I would argue that it's way beyond that because the studies that show the link between greater IQ, better working memory, better brain processing prowess, better concentration, better discipline, all of these things, better empathy, um, uh, all of these things are directly a benefit of music learning, and the research has demonstrated that, and the transfer to other aspects of life. And so I, kind of wonder, and it's impossible to know unless, some really proper research was set up from when she was little. But I think it's interesting to note that, Dr. Davidson is a multiple, what's the word? She's got multiple degrees. She's highly qualified. She's a high achiever in her field. Um, and she has roots, musical beginnings. She had quite rigorous music training, even though she didn't enjoy it. But I think that possibly may have lent itself to where she is today. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who's brilliant, was a musician at some point. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying though is that there has been shown to be a causation, and when the two things exist in somebody's life, then you do have to ask the question that I wonder how much of a role her music training had on her cognition, on her ability to retain information, on her memory, you know, and all those things. And then how did that benefit her studying medicine? Um, so, like I said, we'll never know the answer to that. But I do agree with her quote. Any musical child has a lot of opportunities. And I think those opportunities go way beyond just the music industry. So bear that in mind, parents. You're giving your children an amazing gift. If you're watching the abridged version of this conversation, then I would very much like to invite you to become a member of our Music Mums and Dads community. And this is a community for parents who are intentional about raising musical children. And what we do is we provide a whole heap of resources, conversations like this one that you saw today. We have a lot of research within the community, and we organize different things to help support your music parenting journey. There are tools in there, practice planners, progress trackers, tips about how to organize practice, um, how music research into how musicality develops in children from even before they're born, etc. It's a very fast growing and content rich community, and it's an opportunity for you to journey alongside other parents who have a similar mindset, who are looking to do the same thing as you, and learn from one another's experiences. So um, there's an annual membership fee if you would like to join the community, or if you were only really just interested in listening to specific conversations, maybe like this one, maybe you all, the only thing you want is just to listen to this particular recording in full, then you can do that as well. We also provide a pass for 4 months that will give you access to whichever unit or module of the community that you're interested in. So I hope that's something you might consider. There's the website on there that you can reach us at. I would love to hear from you, and I hope that you would also consider following our Instagram page, Music Mums and Dads, where we will share content from time to time to support your music parenting journey. So for now, I'd like to say thank you for listening. I hope to have you in the next event and next conversation, and I wish you a very happy music parenting experience. Thank you. Bye bye.